Hey everybody, Conscious Economics and Urban Farm. Got my heart. Anyway, heart shadow, no. Anyway, I wanted to talk about unseen, like other world influences that kind of have, influenced this reality. And, I don't have, in the family that I was raised in, I don't have multi-generational Christian religion. We'll just call it mind, especially about, heaven. I call it the heaven experience, which is it's a tractor beam. When people get and have UFO abductions, and that light is a beam that, it's inner. People like separate all this information, right? I guess it's called dissidence because, it has to fit the indoctrination. So, I've seen and I know for sure that there's unseen forces, behind everything. And they all have, some kind of an agenda. Some of them, I've talked about what they do in the past. You can go back and look kind of for those videos, but I want to talk more about what is above is below. It's very interesting, like what they've turned this philosophy into. Also, with like the law of attraction as well. But what is above is below. So people, believe in like this fairy tale reality about other people's information, like that they put out, especially around religion. And that somehow above is like some, want to get this life over with so you can get to that life. And, it's like a fairy tale syndrome. So there's like the, in the book, there's a fairy princess or, princess who ate an apple or pricked her finger, or, damsel in distress from when, which teaches women to be like damsels in distress. So they can hook this, magical prince. Same idea with heaven. And then, they show up on a white horse, dun, 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 probably with armor on and, a sword. And, this person has been a murderer, right? Has been acting in violence. I mean, that's the thing, is like we don't really, pay attention to the story and then how we live out the story. So the prince shows up and, saves the princess, and they ride off into the sunset. Well, this is like the same idea of heaven. Number one, there are no facts. Everything you know about it is somebody else's representation. If this could be a holographic world, then what the hell would heaven be? If we're monitored and kept, then, we leave our bodies, our body finally gives out, then where is that energy captured? And, if you talk to a lot of people, like that die and go through like, the light and all that stuff, they talk about how they couldn't not go into the light. Also, there were all these, important people that would have been there to represent whatever their belief systems were to pull them in. And in some cases, I think that it's a trick that, they got sent back. And I mean, you probably get over your fear of, what death might be, but they only show you a certain degree of it until they can capture you, right? And force you back into the incarnation loop. So, how do we know if we really look at it and think, what is above is below? Well, if they're harvesting us, they're, doing medical experiments on us, they capture us, they hold us in some types of prison till they have like some kind of biological vessel, all right, that they can put the energy part of us back into. So what happens above is happening below. What do we do to animals? We have universities and we capture animals and we do scientific studies on them, right? And then what else are we doing? Well, we have weird breeding programs and weird cellular programs, right? The same thing that, they're kind of doing us above. And so what are animals? Well, animals are food. What are we to some of these beings? We're food. We're biological material. We're, we have an energetic component battery as well that can be taken out and held hostage until it's ready to be used. That's why, I love all this reasons why we wake up in this world and we don't know anything. Because we have to gain spiritual insight. It's a karmic path. It's a destiny and fate. No, what if you were a prisoner, and that they needed a biological suit to put you in, and then then you carry out the labor and whatever else is necessary for a highly evolved other beings, right? So, all we have to do is look at what's going on below here in a very, factual, truthful, literal manner. And that will tell us what is above and what's going on above. We have to, really get out of this whole fairy tale syndrome and start asking ourselves really important questions about what is on the other side. If I get on that pony with that prince and I start riding off towards the sunset, I mean, what is over there? Is there a castle? Does he have a house? Does he have a job? Does he have another wife? What is his kingdom like? Is it more violent? Is it more aggressive? Is it more peaceful? So we just haphazardly go along with the flow. And our job is to start thinking, right? I'm not saying don't go with the flow, but think about where the flow is going, right? Think about where it's going, where it's headed, what could be on the other side. Law of attraction, is one of those things that's kind of like at play here. Well, law of attraction is also, if there's these, higher evolved species who are using us, then what are we doing here? Well, we're using the planet, we're using the animals, we're using, all these things for an agenda. And it's interesting to me that people can take these kind of spiritual concepts and not really think the whole thing through and just make assumptions about what it is that it means to them based on their belief system. And this is going to be very dangerous territory coming up in the near future when you can't actually think for yourself. And things that are going to be coming out that are going to be really, really, really beyond, what you can cope with, because you're not really using your noggin. You're not putting on your thinking cap. You're not really associating, this with this and what's going on and how it works out. And so just kind of wanted to bring that to people. Like, we can tell what's above by just what's going on below here. And that's exactly what is just a different scale is going on above. So there isn't like a magical place that is somewhere other than here. The astonishing part is that more than likely, if there is no transparency and you don't really know for a fact, it's probably not a place that you want to go, or that you just want to like loosely, one of my when I was helping Ryan a lot, one of the things that we talked about was using ayahuasca and DMT and some of these other things, and just letting yourself go, and ending up in places that you're confronted by a lot of other beings who are in those places, who are not exactly friendly, and that may also be higher consciousness than you, and also have types of agendas, and some of them being kind of aggressive and not so good, and ended up hijacking you, and coming back here and being very hard to get rid of, and that they should have gone through some kind of shamanic practice and training to be able to be in those worlds, but thinking and acting and interacting, and not just kind of going with the flow, right? Being highly conscious, like what I call the fourth attention, third and fourth attention, going into some of those places, so that you could take care of yourself and make sure that you weren't going to get exposed, right? So sometimes, higher states of consciousness are extremely dangerous places, and people just don't seem to gather that, because they're trying to escape this world, the fairy tale. There's something better over there, there's something better up there, there's something better on the other side where the sunset is, and I might as well just go, right? Instead of staying and critically thinking and being able to think it all out, right? That's why the grass is never greener somewhere else. People are always telling me like, oh yeah, I got this really great offer and all this other stuff, and I'm like, remember, you may struggle harder than you already are, but people are always looking for a savior. They're always looking for a way out. They think in fairy tales that something's going to come and get them and take them to a better place, that dying and leaving this world, going to the heaven experience, is going to be better than here. And you just don't really know how that's really going to play out once they entrap you in the tractor beam, giving you the experience you need to in order to come forward. And then, what happens to you after that? I'm not saying all people get entrapped in that. I mean, Tibetan Buddhists spend their entire lives learning to run the gauntlet as soon as they die, so that they can actually reincarnate at will without being entrapped into some of these experiences. And that's what shamanic people get and understand. So it's better to take advantage and be fully conscious in this life, than to think something or some is better than what you already have. All right, anyway, that's the best way that I can put the whole thing. And have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.